I'm pleased to call the next participants. So we have Raniero Bagozzi, who is from Pirelli and is in charge of operational research and prescriptive analytics. Then Stefano Maestroni. Here we are, yes, who is head of planning and controlling Europe and Italy at Autogrill. And then Luca Lisci in the middle. He's the CEO and founder of Next Present. The topic now is the adoption of AI in business management, which I think is a very challenging topic since in business you need lots of skills, which are usually not so strictly considered to be technical skills. So AI is really something very complementary, and it is not easy to understand how we can effectively use it. So we should try to be quite effective and short in time. I have a couple of questions and then so a last point for all of you. And my ideas with each one of you gives his point of view, feedback, and some information. The first round is very, let's say, easy. It's introductory. So I would ask you to tell us from your point of view, which is the potential you see in AI for your businesses, so for the activities you are doing in your companies or as a consultant company when you're for other companies, and which are the most relevant projects which are ongoing at present, which you are working on with your teams, of course. And I think we can start with Stefano Maestroni.
With pleasure. Let's start saying like that AI, artificial intelligence, is nowadays everywhere, basically. Is everywhere around us. So in processes, in activities, you can find literally everywhere. Just to give my experience, we in Autogrill, we start working with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and algorithms back in 2014. And as someone said, Paolo said before, everybody was asking KPIs. I'm working in finance, so basically KPIs is what we eat every day. Because without KPIs, finance, I mean, it won't be our job. And I was one of them. So we spent 1 year looking for what's the error of forecasting, not what the result. Nowadays, the situation smoothly changed because I'm on the other side. I'm one of the person that adopted all this new technology, new option into forecasting, into budgeting, and into all our processes. When someone talked about supply chain, that was probably one of the first that entered into companies. Forecasting is another easy one for us. I mean, if you have a complex situation, forecasting algorithm save your life sometimes, not all the times. But there are, with the proper forecasting in terms of sales, you can open literally a wider option of choices that comes out to be decision. So I was making fun with someone yesterday night, because nowadays people are coming to me and asking how artificial intelligence is working. And the big question now is, well, we have not the answer. Artificial intelligence is just something supporting us, taking decision, providing us a lot of information that alone we won't be able to gather. If now we adopt those technologies in our companies, we will have a really strong advantage for the future. Now, I just finished with last words. The black spot with my idea now are still somehow costs, because dealing with a lot of data, well, compared with 10 years ago, are cheap, but it's not something so affordable for all the companies. So that's something that technology is going fast. 10 years ago, we were working with a small amount of data. Now we are working not even with big data. We are working with worldwide data, but in the next future, if costs might decrease a little bit, that will be something that I would really recommend to all the businesses. And today, all the colleagues show us that no matter what's the business, intelligence is there, technology are there supporting us.
Okay, thanks. So too many data and still high costs to manage all of them. I ask Luca, Lisci, which is your point of view and what's ongoing in your company related to AI for business.
Right. Thank you, Emanuele, for the question, and for having me here today. So thank you, Rafael. And I think I love the title of this conversation, by the way. It's about adopting. I would suggest to call it like an inclusion problem, not an adopting problem. Meaning, how many of you that are working operation research and the field of software development, they are trying to use AI to develop their own solutions here in the hall? Can you raise up a hand? Myself, I'm doing a little bit of work like that, right? So it's not just a matter of the business, right? To be included, to include the technology, AI technology in our everyday processes. And this is what makes this moment so fascinating to me. And this is exactly the point for us in Next Present. We are trying to engage the communities, corporations, people themselves by themselves alone to comprehend this quite a big revolution that is happening right now. And this is exactly the point, Rafael, Emanuele, sorry, I was thinking about Rafael again. And our job is there, right? So, and our main question when we are trying to approach the problem, the issue of adopting this technology, of including this technology is how can people relate to it? It's not a matter of comprehension of the software itself. It's a matter of mind openness. It's arrived at the time that we are really, it's the moment for us to comprehend that it's not just a software problem. It's not just an engineering problem. It's a philosophical problem. It's an ethical problem. It's a business problem, and everything has gone to go along as a whole, So the terms of inclusivity in the process, it's really what we need now in this moment. So I love the DSA program and project, by the way, exactly for this reason, because you guys are trying to put together these several aspects of the matter, right? And starting from a very peculiar side of AI, this is the model. And nowadays there is a lot of talk about large language models, right? I know that later we can talk a little bit about ChatGPT, but myself, I try to understand how can we develop a new culture for modeling the comprehension of what is happening right now. There is very soon a day when the very first language that young kids have to learn just after their own first language would be software computing and talking properly to an AI. It's not a matter of software comprehension, right? It's a problem of understanding a new kind of language, a sort of computational language, more like a human computer language. What will it be? And this is the topic they are working on. So we are getting into the conversation with companies, trying to understand the gap they have with the AI inclusion, as we call it. So how far are they from solving the problems and adopting and including the technology in solving their own problem on a personal level, on a community level, and in a whole organization level. And it's both sides of the job here. We are working on detecting and co-designing with them the workflow. There are the engagement part of the everyday daily routines, right? So projecting and designing something new that has to do with a everyday habilitation of AI to the daily routine. So how can you use AI in your simple step from understanding the problem to solving the problem? On a personal level, with a single AI assessment, AI inclusion assessment we do with single people. Then we extend this kind of assessment with the team, asking to solve their biases. We talked a lot about how fear can be so important in trouble, in getting in trouble when you have to go for decision making and problem solving very fast, like in piloting and airplane, for example. And so we are full of biases, but also it's part of our human nature. The biases are the reason why we love each other. Is it not love something that is based on biases? Do you think my lady is so perfect as I think she is? Maybe she's not, but I love her, right? So it's part of our human nature. Biases are us. And we are trying today to understand how biases work on the side of performing ourselves in a new kind of community that we call the AI inclusive community. And by the way, what is AI? Is it like an animal, like the bull of the farmers of all times that we use to to carry on and to go farming with us, or is it like our dog? It is giving us so much affection and love. What is it? Is it machine? Maybe it's not, right? Because we have biases. And after a while, 5 minutes, or maybe for some of us 1 minute of conversation with ChatGPT, we simply love him or her. I don't know how to call it, right? Because she's so true to us. She's so true to us. But it's not her or it or him. It's us. It's a language problem. So that's exactly what we are doing now these days, Manuele, working on that kind of language and cultural comprehension of the phenomenon to produce efficiency.
Challenging, very interesting. Second question then, and I will go farther in this direction. I will ask now Raniero to present your activities and your points.
Good afternoon. So I will try to answer your question sharing my experience. But at first, let me say that I worked in the field of industrial engineering. But let's say I was an operational research lover since the time of university. And so I tried always to implement the operational research in the factory, in the company where I work. So why I tell this? Because I mean that if you want to introduce the operational research or these techniques in the company, to find passionate people help a lot. So, and passion starts here. And so this is very important place. After that, let's say in Pirelli, we started, I had the opportunity to start this project in 2009, because in 2019, because in 2019, the Pirelli started the Pirelli digital transformation project. So we had a gradual approach. At the beginning, we start a cooperation with the university, with the department of Professor Righini, and we study to mock up the problems with the target to show to the management that the operational research can be useful in practice. Because when you talk about operational research to the management, at the beginning they became crazy, look so difficult, impossible to do something. So to make some mock-up and show more results, but tangible results has been, let's say, the key to get the support. So I got the support and we started the project at the time, as Raffaele knows. So we decided to implement operational research to support the IBP process. IBP is Integrated Business Plan. It's a process that in the company starts from the field and want to plan the resources of the company with the aiming to show the economical result of the decision. So this process is supported by a platform that collects a lot of data. And we developed different type of algorithms that solve this planning problem. So from the point of view of operational research, the type of problem that we solve are plant allocation and distribution flow. We run this problem over the network, the supply chain network of Pirelli. We are talking about a huge network. We are talking about 17 plants, the number of factory warehouse, more than 24 hours, 24 regional warehouse that serve 120 countries, customers in 120 countries, with around 6,300 products. And of course, let's say I will not go into detail, but we have three types of let's say models: strategical, rolling, operative, depending the horizon time. So, for example, for the strategic, we look at the 5 years, the decisions are based on the industrial assets, the roadmap technology. In the rolling, the purpose, the time horizon is 12, 18 months. What we want to do, we want to take that decision that prevents to have a problem in the sales satisfaction. While the operative plan is the next month, and what we do, we try to maximize the output of the results that we have. So finally, to tell the truth, to convince the user, it will be much more difficult than convince the manager. Because you affect the job of the user, and the user has his own way to do the things. And so that, let's say, the adoption is, for me, the most critical part. And let's say that we can say that we have this way to do. And so we built a model that can optimize. But if you want, you can get the solution that you think is the best for you. And this looks like stupid, but it's not so stupid. You need to get that the user is confident in the tool. And so this introduction is a light introduction, and then step by step we can release the constraint to give the freedom to the algorithm to find better solution. I have also, since I have a lot of software engineering in front of me, I have also 2 points that I would like to share that I think are really important if we want to make the operational research successful in the company. The first one is what I call explainable output. If we simplify, we look at the operational research project, we divide into phases. Make the model, analyze the output. Make the model is really, really comfortable for the user, because you offer to the user a framework. So just in function, what is important for you? Decision variable, what you can decide, and constraints, okay, the limitation that you need to consider. So they really are comfortable, because even understand more than what they are doing when they try to describe by this tool the problem. After that, we get the solution. The solution usually is a huge table with 2,000, millions of numbers and things. So it's really difficult when you look at the solution to say why we had this solution. And the user asks you why he took this decision instead to take the decision I would have taken. And me, the person that, let's say, is the intermediate, as the only way to answer is please take the best solution, evaluate the objective function. You will look that the my is better than that. But this is not the way in the company we communicate decisions. But in the company to communicate decision, we, let's say, we simplify and we go by slogan. But this is the way everybody understands. I mean, we have standard product and premium product. Premium product, we get money. Standard product, we have high cost plant, low cost plant. Okay. So strategy, the slogan is premium product in high cost plant, standard product in low cost plant. Or distribution, no? We can have, I don't know, centralized system, or local for local, because we want to be closer to the, we want to produce closer to the customer. So what I think is missing and what we should develop is, I don't know, because I'm not an expert, but it's a post-processing or in the modeling phase. But in any way, we need to find the way to take out from the solution the highlight that can explain in the human language, let's say, or by the person driver, what are the drivers that this solution are. And then I have a second point also that I think I take this opportunity to share, because there is a big competition to find algorithms that find better solutions in faster time. Okay. And when I went to talk with the user, also the user wants to have faster algorithm. So I was really, let's say, angry because they claim for 1 hour, I took 4 hours, I want 3 hours. While they are doing job that take days. I was thinking for 1 hour, you give me additional problem. Okay. But finally, in reality, I have understood the reason because they already know that the result they got need the rework. Okay, need the rework because data, as you know, is not so much accurate. So anyway, we want to have data accurate, we have what we have. The model is closed, but not 100% too close to the line. The user has his own idea that he don't want to compromise about some idea. So you already know that the result that we will get in some way he will reward, or we will make another run with the algorithm and so on. So I think that we should think to develop algorithms that are collaborative. Because let's say if we are able to run algorithms that can work with the user, they will converge to the solution that for the user is, let's say, acceptable. And this is maybe will be a little bit longer, but and we will not be so much optimized, right? But anyway, we can make the adoption much faster, and then with the time maybe we will release it. So this is more or less the story of my experience with Pirelli.
Thank you so much. Very interesting. And also thanks for sharing these two last points, which are of high relevance. Actually, I was planning to have one question for all of you, but I think you already answered, but I will set it anyhow. Maybe the others can also give a contribution. Since one issue clear is adoption means convincing people to use it and to trust it. And we know that this is not easy. You are AI experts in your activities, and you have to deal with other managers which are not and have to accept to use it or to understand how to use it. And there are, let's say, three main keywords, transparency, explainability, and let's say also ethics, which are somehow related to how we use AI and how we communicate it. Now, the question is directly to you, based on your experience, if you could ask the research community to develop something new in the field of AI, so as to support you in giving best answers to these three topics, what would you ask for? You were already clear. You said we would appreciate to have more collaborative methods so that we can engage people in using it, so that they understand what's ongoing, they feel part of it, and they can easily use it in a more effective and convinced way. So I think this is a very relevant and clear statement. And I was wondering if there is any other concern from, I mean, you are experts, you have to sell the technology to others, but maybe you can also suggest how to improve the technology further. And what would you suggest to do there?
Well, above all, I'm not the expert. I'm just a person that adopts probably as first in the company technologies. Anyway, I will go back to what the colleague was talking about, the language. If I might request a dream, the purpose in artificial intelligence would be the one that I'm not forced to learn this language, but is gonna speak my own language. And it's true that the new generation is going exactly in the opposite direction. So they are learning IT or technology language. For my generation, it's still something that we don't. And to recover this gap with the new generation might take a huge effort. So my dream in this case would be to obtain a technology that is retaught, because collaborative, I understand, I agree, but collaboration might not fit to the perfect decision because it's a compromise. Every time you sit down with a compromise, you never get the best. You might get something good, but not the best. If you're looking for something at best, now we say you should trust, but neither me is trusting on results without checking 3 times. And he said, right. I'm convinced that I'm the good guy. I got reason and I want to check everything. and convincing other, if myself, I'm already sure that I'm in the right position, it's not simple. So if I might ask something, is an artificial intelligence a way that is able to understand me and speak with me as I speak with myself? That would be my dream.
Okay, clear. And from your point of view, Luca, is it?
Yeah, but I would like to clarify my position here, since I'm not trying to sell AI to anyone.
Which is
By the way,
clear
I'm
to
trying
us.
to, I'm not to convince not to, most of the time, and unless or until the person, the community, and the organization is ready to do that. And what I mean is, I think there's nothing in particular that I would ask to the AI community to do to improve their own job today, because I guess there are too many and too much of interest behind this huge new economical trend. So it's very difficult on an industrial level to influence the trend. Maybe something can be done on a political level, but I wouldn't like to approach that term today, right? And so I think there is one point, very interesting point, then very simple to ask to every one of us. So not just the building AI community, but the fruiters, the users, or the people is not really concerned about building it, but using it. And the just one request that I do every time we approach this matter is, let's study, let's do the thing, let's do in deep with that. Do your own efforts to understand what's happening behind the first level of usability that you have, what's behind it. And by the way, there is a lot of talking about the AI as a black box, right? It's very different from operational research. It's quite an open and transparent box. But there is a new kind of trend arising from for example, the large language models that is really hiding how the machine works in order for the machine to give you that answer, right? And this is very a peculiar event in our industrial history in technology. So I would ask every one of us, not important if you are working on developing AI solution or you are a user, to get in touch with it, understand, and be part of it. Not being satisfied in talks and in polarized conversation about AI will steal my job, or will AI on a singularity level will be God. And this is something can be happening, yes. Why not? Yes, but it's us. It's not it. It's us. So study, and I'm not a technician. I'm not an engineer. I'm not someone that is really capable to understand fully what's happening behind the machine. But really, I'm so curious about it. And I would do many millions of questions to people like you to understand what's happening behind the machine. That's it.
Good point, clear again. I ask from the audience if there is any question from anyone. There is one there.
Hi all, great topic on the title. So the company we work for has a mission to revolutionize the way people take decisions and strategic decision makers take decisions with AI. So we are trying to analyze the different decision maker as different personas, okay? So it turns easy for us to build a solution for the analytical decision maker, okay? But on the other hand, we have the curious decision maker, the romantic kind of decision maker. So my question for you is, which are the killer features of an AI-based product to somehow break the trust barrier with non-analytical kind of decision makers? So Raniero was mentioning explainability before. On the other hand, with ChatGPT, we see that personalization is another killer feature, but what else?
Gentlemen, I'm doing it. I try to give you an answer because you have the point. So there are so many kind of taxonomies defining the the efficiency and such a technology, and starting from the point that it must be useful for humans. So one thing of super feature that I would like to have is measuring how much is important and valuable to improve the human side of things. Meaning that when you're doing automation, you are disintermediating something, right? And are not considering the human to be part of it most of the time. It is quite good because it's like an economical improvement, there's business improvements, there's a lot of many good points in that, right? But I think we have to argue a little bit more about the full balance of it. And there is one thing that I've read recently, and about this thing coming on about will AI steal my job? Will a robot steal my job? And so on. And I've read this research that was talking about a good point, telling that you have one method of getting profit from AI as a company. You get rid of all people is not functional anymore because of AI. So AI can do your job. You're not working with me anymore. Is one way of doing it, right? One strategy. And then there is a side strategy. There is understanding that AI can be a sort of collective intelligence agent enriched by those that are veterans, seniors, lots of expertise, to put all their knowledges into this collective intelligence, so that when youngsters, newcomers, newbie, and people not so prepared in that field can profit of the knowledge of their colleagues. Quite different things. So, but what does it mean? It means that you have to pay differently, not because you are efficient in your daily job, but about what you're giving to the company in terms of knowledge base. So we are starting to see as the economical value of the person inside the company is not just strictly given by the everyday operational side of them efforts, but it's something more. Themselves, their culture, the sensitivities, their, if you want, the human side, as we talked a lot about, right? So this is exactly what I would like to ask to as a killer feature for AI. Work having this vision as objective. So working on instruments and tools, AI-powered tools, that are giving the people the opportunity to get value from themselves, from what they are. That's it.
Another question?
I have a
Raphael,
short question that from the last two roundtables, we have an evidence that there's a lot of work to do as Decision Science Alliance. I look also our colleagues. So let's start the inclusivity of this association, this group. I think we can play a role because it's just not a question to improve the algorithm, just not a question to improve the communication, but we should move a lot of different levels. What is the suggestion from your point addressing the activity of the Decision Science Alliance for giving more value both to the decision maker, but also to the people that develop algorithms and solutions and bring these solutions to the customer?
There is a discussion inside the company that is not up to me to take the decisions between outsourcing this competence or insourcing. Because finally, let's say, we are taking important business decisions with these algorithms. I don't know how many people are happy that these are taken from something done from someone. On the other hand, if you insource, that give you the possibility to have the control, and also since business is always changing very fastly, you can react. If you insource, you lose the state of the art, and you lose the experience that people can bring from the other company. So find the way to have a role between these two extremes, okay, for whichever community. I think is if you are able to find the way to be always, let's say, not part of the company, but so closer to the company, I think this can be very successful.
Yes, we soon to close, but we are happy to listen still. Yeah, one point,
Yes.
thanks.
To close, yes, because my experience today was incredible, because starting sharing, looking at different sectors, different economies, different approaches. We talk about pilots, they are taking decision, everybody's taking decision, even on personal lives. And start talking together, understanding together, you can find easily similar processes that drives to decisions and drive to solution. We talk a lot about human factor. Someone is stating that AI might ruin your life, you might lose your job, but instead, from a financial perspective, I would say artificial intelligence might save your job, because if your company start making more money, you are gonna earn more money too. So it's a facilitator. So the recommendation is probably a new year is coming. A new year is coming, and we should be ready. And getting ready now might be a really successful history to tell to the others in the future. Getting late now, I mean, when you lose a train, you lose a train. That's it.
Sorry, clear message, yes. So you, Luca, wanted still to add something to this point?
Are we so fast and short? Invite kids. Next time, kids. To play with, to talk with, to ask them for reasons, to teach us about the future, not us teaching them. Invite kids. I will join in for sure.
Okay, great suggestion. So I think we can thank our three speakers, Raniero, Stefano, and Luca. Thanks a lot for sharing your experiences.